Hey guys, welcome to our lesson on creating graphs. In this quick little video, I'm going to show you how to create the graphs by hand, but there's also a video later in the lesson that shows you how to do it in Google Sheets and use technology. But let's get started. The first kind of graph that we're going to talk about is a bar graph. So the one thing that I want to make sure you do is give everything titles. I want you to do a title on this vertical axis and also on the horizontal axis. And we're going to make sure that we label everything and that we have an overall title for the graph. Because it's really important that when you have a graph, you're telling people what it is that the graph is actually trying to display. If you don't put titles on it, then people don't know what it's for. So first things first, we're going to look at our data. We got favorite type of movie, comedy, action, romance, drama, and sci-fi, and I've put the numbers there. So if we're going to title everything, we need a main title. So this one, I'm going to put type of movie, favorites, and then we need to decide what's going to go on our horizontal axis and what's going to go on our vertical axis. So on the vertical axis, you usually put like a number of people or number of or frequency. So in this case, we're going to put the numbers up the side and we're going to put the categories on the bottom. So our first one here is comedy. Then we've got action, romance, drama, and the last one is sci-fi. Now, when we're doing a bar graph, the bar graphs, you want to make sure there's a space in between each of the bars. That's what makes it unique, and that's what makes it a bar graph, so we're not confusing it with one of the other graphs we're going to do later in the course. And then we'll just put the numbers up the side. So I try to do it even. Graph paper is super good for this. 1, 2. And then we'll just do our bars. A ruler is good too. You can see I'm not really drawing that straight. Romance, drama, and sci-fi. And you can make it look pretty if you want. And don't forget the titles on the side. So these are type of movie. And along the side, I'm going to put number of people. Okay, so don't forget the titles. And don't forget to label your axis when you're doing the graphs. But this one, the main thing is for a bar graph is that you have categories. So that's usually when you'll use it. And make sure there's a space in between the bars. You may also see bar graphs that go like this, which is a horizontal bars, which is fine. They do them that way as well. All right, the second type of graph I'm going to go over is line graph. Now, typically, we're going to use a line graph to show trends or changes over time. That's typically when they'll use a line graph. Same thing, we're going to put a title on it. And this one is going to be Michael's height. I'm going to put the age on the bottom because it's consistent and it changes at the same rate. So we'll put the age on the bottom. One, two, three, 4, 6, and then we'll put the height on the side. So notice this is where you kind of got to think about scale. It goes up to 125 and starts at 80. So I'm going to go up, I think, by 25s. 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, 150. And then you'll just graph them as points. So this first one is like a point, so 1 and 80. So that's about there. 2 and 91. 3 and 101. 4 and 108. 5 and 116, and 6 and 125. So you see, and then with the line graph, you're just going to basically connect the dots. Just like that. Don't forget your titles. I forgot that one. And I'm going to put it in centimeters just so we know what it's measuring. Okay, and that's it. That's a line graph. So the last type of graph is what they call a pie chart or a pie graph, which is a graph that's done in a circle. This one requires a little bit more math if you're going to do it by hand, but I'm going to show you how to do it. So the first thing you're going to do is total the number of people. So we're going to add them all up. Plus 19 plus 4 plus, and I get a total of 222. Now, in order to do the pie chart, you basically need to find out what percent each of the categories takes up, and then we're going to make a piece of pie that represents that percentage. So for every single one of these, we're going to take the number. So I'm going to do public transit first, and we're going to take 30, divide it by 222 to get our percentage. So in this case, it's 0.135. And then what you're going to do is multiply that by 360, because that's how many degrees are in the entire circle. So because we want to find out how big the slice of pie needs to be. So in this case, it's about 47 degrees. And then what you're going to do is we're going to start with a starting line. And that's our beginning. And then we're going to take our protractor, if you've got one, and measure 47 degrees. So you guys can't see my protractor, but I'm going to put a protractor on here and measure out 47 degrees or approximately. And then I'm going to connect it like that. So I get a nice slice that's about 47 degrees. And this one's public transit. And then we'll keep going. So let's do the next one. So this one's drivers, and it's 147. Again, the same thing. Divide by 222. So in this case, it's about 66%. We'll take that number and again times it by 360. which is 238 degrees. So this one's a pretty big slice. And you'll line it up with the line that you just did. But because the protractor only does 180, I'm going to go all the way around. To 180 and then add another 100. 238 minus 180. So I need an extra 58 degrees. So we'll line it up. And we'll draw it on, and there is your, this is motor vehicle driver. And then you continue that for the next couple, and you'll get a bunch of smaller slices of the pie, but the thing is that it's going to equal the whole pie. You just do them all the same way and keep going around. That's pretty much, it is a little bit more involved than the other ones because you have to do the calculations. But it's not too hard if you just follow the steps of finding the total, dividing each one by that total number, and then finding out what degrees that slice of the pie needs to be. So that's how you do all the charts by hand if you choose to do them by hand. But again, I have a video later in the lesson that shows you how to do it using sheets, and they make the graphs all nice and pretty for you and color them in, and you can do some choices there. So watch the video so you know how to do it that way as well. Okay, bye guys.